Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? What then is the reward of such among you as do this but disgrace in the life of this world, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent back to the most grievous chastisement? And Allah is not heedless of what you do. 86 These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter, so their chastisement shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sulaiman Rahim here. Lesson of Covenant. Breaking 7 seals. I may have to cancel. I'm having some technical difficulty here again. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens here. This is part 2 of what I started yesterday. So that was 2 involved. I couldn't get to everything. This is part 2. The Rock, Farrakhan, the Rock. Anyway, we need to understand, to have thorough knowledge of yourself, you need to understand your reality. You understand the reality that you live in. See, and no one in this life understands reality. The Bible doesn't really tell you, at least the Seal Bible doesn't, right? And so, you see Adam, he's looking into physics and learning those things he didn't know before, but still guessing. A lot of stuff is just theories. And so you have this narrative about how you think things, well, just pray, call on Jesus, or call on Allah, or call on Shiva, whatever. And that throws a big monkey wrench the whole thing, because if you're going to do that, you don't need to become reality. You have to deal with the reality of your personal reality of your decisions, your consequences. Because whatever, just call on Jesus and he'll make some miracle. Because if you have miracles, you don't have a reality, do you? Because miracles is just something that outside of reality. Anyway, right now we live in a derivative reality. And I'm going to try to explain it as simply as possible, brothers and sisters. When a person is starving to death, right, no food, before they die, at least in many cases, right, they lose their sight, may lose their sight, may lose their ears, hearing, because it takes energy for those things. And their body's shutting down because it doesn't have enough energy to keep the heart going, to keep the lungs going. That's what happens. It doesn't have enough energy to keep, because no food, it doesn't have enough energy, so what it starts doing, it starts eating up your flesh. That's why you get skinny and everything. It's trying to get energy. So it's taking energy from your flesh, fat, whatever, to keep you alive. It takes energy. That's why you get so small and everything. And when it can no longer do that, right? Then it takes energy from vital organs. But your eyesight is not considered a vital organ. Not in your brain, not either in some circumstances, because heart has a vital organ, but that's it. So you reduce to a derivative of yourself. And that's what I mean by derivative. See? Because energy deprivation, which you never heard before, no one ever talked to you about this before, it's in the scripture, but you didn't understand it. And that's the cause of our problem. Now, Elijah Muhammad, he says something about the earth entering in an unrighteous orbit, and that's about as deep as he got into it, probably as deep as he could get into it. But we understand how the universe works, and the Quran tells you the heavens and earth were one, and then we rent the heavens. It means we expanded them. So if that's the case, and you can't create energy or destroy it, that means the energy that used to be here, the energy is out there now. That means you have less and less here. The less you have, right? Until you get to the point where you have almost little, and we like in the Bible called it famine. We're in a famine period, right? Where we don't have enough energy to maintain a civilization, have maintained a tribe, maintain a relationship, maintain our children. So we got so bad that we couldn't even maintain ourselves. So we had the devils, they had total control of us. We had no control of ourselves at all. That's energy deprivation, because we didn't have the energy to control anything. And then now, as the universe, Quran says, it's momentous in the heavens and earth, but it comes all of a sudden. If you understand what that means, there'll be energy returning now in waves, approximately every 50 years. So I get energized. Now I can prove that, but I'm not going to go into details because I would be in 2 or 3 hours trying to prove every one of these points. So now we're being energized now. So black folks are stepping up out of it. That's energy deprivation. That's what causes. That's how the universe works. The universe opens and closes up forever. So in this stage right now, it's starting to close. That means energy is coming back. So now we're being energized, right? So right now we're in a derivative reality because what's a derivative? Well, if you understand anything about calculus, anything about derivative, it's one dimension down. That's not the way they teach it, but it's one dimension down because right? So a cube like this, the derivative of that would be a square. It's one dimension down. The derivative of this would be a line. The derivative of a line would be a point. Just go down one dimension. So because of energy deprivation, we was reduced from this to this. We only operate in this level. We couldn't operate in this level anymore. We didn't have enough energy. Reduced to this. But remember, that's a plague for us. That's no. So when we got here, right? Then we grafted a person that's the derivative of ourselves, right? Who didn't have this three-dimensional deficit. Well, in other words, because we had this three-dimensional attribute, right? Then here we wouldn't operate properly here because we just operate this way, but we can't because we because of energy deprivation. With them, since they was creating haste right here, then that's the only reality they know, two-dimensional. That's all they know. They don't know about third dimension. You couldn't tell them. They have no idea they exist. But they rule here. That's Adam. He rule us. So we was reduced to two-dimensional, right? But we have, right, attributes, three-dimensional attributes, just they're not in effect because we under energy deprivation. So as we become energized, we can move up. Depth or height, they can't. They don't even. They have no idea. They can't even. Wouldn't you do it? Because all I know is you disappeared. And that's what it says. They have no form of godliness, but denying the power of it. That means they're in our form, but not out of the structure. See? That means they have a structure, a form, but didn't have our substance. A substance is third-dimensional aspect. They don't have that. But they have our form. Like, girls have somewhat of a form of us. Right? But you can't teach them to speak. Right? So they have a form of godliness, have our form without the substance. And say we rule as long as we're in that two-dimensional phase. So they're derivative man. They're derivative, right? That's what it's saying here. So that's why it says he gave them Islam as a religion. See, religion is what was reduced to. See here? Islam is mathematics and mathematics Islam. You don't need it. But once you got here, start moving down from this, then you don't have the brain power anymore to comprehend the entire thing. So now you start making conjectures. Oh, I think it's this way, theories of things. That's religion. That's what religion is. And the worst of all was Christianity because it gives you no idea of how the universe works, none whatsoever. There's no connection there whatsoever. At least in Hinduism, you got a theory of the concept of karma, which is the actual nature of the universe, consequence. But there's no, right? If you had to worry about anything, all you got to do is call on Jesus. My brothers and sisters. So you got a derivative man. That's the Caucasians. The derivative, they call it, like Muhammad call it grafting. And see, and as soon as it was in a derivative reality, right? So the Quran was built in that derivative reality, and it's a religion. They're a form of Islam, but they don't have the substance. Because Islam is mathematics and mathematics Islam, and you can talk to these students all day, all night. They will give you no mathematics to explain Islam. They won't give you any. They can't. If Islam is mathematics, mathematics Islam, so how come they can't tell you any math? They have no math. They can tell you about, Allah said whatever. They don't have the math. And I'm giving you, that's all I give you is the math. Because now you're rising up. And so, you see, the sphere there, see, that's mathematical Islam. It's three-dimensional. But sort of they got the structure of Islam, but not the substance. See, so that's why they talk and how they do. They don't understand it. They got the structure. They got Mecca, they got Medina, they got the Kaaba, they got Ramadan, they got the Quran. See, so they got the structure, form. They don't have the substance. Right? And so it takes Suleiman to come and give the substance. And so we have back to three-dimensional Islam. They have two-dimensional Islam. They don't know it. That's what they have. So in general, it was like this before they got their hands on us, three-dimensional. And then when they got their hands on us, as we made them, right, they were two-dimensional. And they can run easily because it's home for them. They're two-dimensional beings, right? Okay. And I talk energy deprivation. It says it took 6,000 years, we're a 6,000 year period, right, to go from here down to rock bottom. Here, that's where we was, so-called civil war and everything, rock bottom. And then we start moving up from there. Start moving up because now we've been energized. But it's a 12,000 year period before you totally come out. And so we the gods, but we cannot take control because we still suffer energy deprivation, right? Not as bad because we're coming out of it. Here was going into it, it's getting worse and worse and worse. Now it's getting better and better and better. But Master Muhammad, right? He's the made God that will rule, because he said you had to make a made God that can function in both second and third dimension, right? To rule, and he'll rule for the next 6,000 years. And personally, 6,000 years. Okay. And then, how they taught it, the kingdom we give back to the tribe of Shabazz again. But we are 6,000 years from now, we are being told out in deprivation. Let's talk about Adam. Yeah, I got a couple things about Adam. You hear about Adam in the Quran, Adam in the Seal Bible. They're the same person? Oh, we'll see. Now, I'm going to talk about, okay, if you read Genesis, it's talking about 6 days, 6,000 year period, and we know that according to Muhammad, 6,000 years ago, we made Yaqub brought into existence, who they call Adam. 6,000 years ago. But we look at Genesis, right? It has each day broken into two parts, day and night. You see it down here. We're talking about day and night. So the day is considered the first. It's a 1,000 year period, but it's broken two parts. So the day is considered the first part of it, and the night considered the latter part, right? So that means if it starts 6,000 years ago, from 6,000 years to 5,500, right? That means something happened in that period of time, and then during the day and during the night, for the next 500 years, someone else, or whatever. Right? So we know that Adam, see here, when it says, you wouldn't understand this unless you heard Elijah's teachings, and that gives you some idea. But you really wouldn't understand unless you broke the seals of the Bible. No one you have done that. And I've broken the seals, so I tell you exactly what it means, right? So I'm going to give it in general right here, right? So you understand half and half, 500, 500, right? And so he didn't let there be light. So it was darkness covered and light came out of it. That's what it's talking about. The devils came out of us 6,000 years ago. Hmm? That's the story. We understand, brothers, that we push the devils and derivative of ourselves 6,000 years ago. Hmm? Okay, understand? Another thing is when you read this, it keeps talking about separate the waters right from the land. That's part of unlocking what this means. Because remember, all this stuff is locked up. It tells you all this stuff locked up. And you need a master covenant. Excuse me. You need the master of the covenant. The covenant, unseal the Bible and reveal all these things to you. Until then, you wouldn't know what stuff means. Elijah didn't know. He knew something, but he knew this. And so you didn't have time to go back and try to study and learn it. You didn't even know to learn it. So it keeps talking about separate life. So when you see that, you'll see that they mention water here, waters. Keep that in mind, mention water. Because they separate water from dry land. Keep that in mind. That's one of the little things, keys to unlock this. And it mentions waters again. This is the second day. That's from 5 to the first days from hold it previous. It's from 6,000, right? That'd be 555 to 500, right? That'd be a second day. And then you start from 500s, right? That's to 40, and then 42, right? So here, and talk about wars again. Wars again. Each of these days represents a 1,000-year period, right? And night and day is half and half. Right? So let's go on. So you go to the next one, still talking about waters again. Third day, from 4,000 to 3,500 years ago. Let's go on. And the fifth day, that's 5,000 to 1,500 years ago. Right? That's fifth day. So you're still saying waters. Hold on, we have to do this? Hold on, I missed something here. I had to get to 50 already. There's something wrong here. Okay, I got something wrong here. Oh, I got a mistake here somehow. Give me a break. Give me a second, brothers and sisters. I tell you, all of my systems, I had this corrected, and all of a sudden it's out of order. It keeps happening. It keeps happening. Okay, that's the first day, second day, third day, fifth day, sixth day. Wait, hold on, something's wrong here. That's the second day, third day, fifth. Where's the fourth? There's right there. What? Now it shows up? The hell? Okay, boss. Now it shows up. I don't know. Whatever. Try it again. Okay. To my adder, right? Okay, here's the first day, 6,000 years ago to 5,500, right? Right? That's 6,000 to that, and then this 55 to 50, right? That's 1,000 years. Same thing here now. This is the second day, right? That was the first day. This second day. Third day. All I'm talking about waters. Back up, make sure you see that. Because see, they don't say things for no reason. There was a reason why they say separated waters from dry land. Okay, here you go, Adam. So waters are mentioned. Right here, I think I highlighted water, right? Okay, so that's okay. Was his mentioned this the second day was mentioned. Third day was still mentioned. And the fifth day. Okay, that was, okay, pay attention to this, because it's kind of tricky here. Right. Here's the third day. Then we go third to the fifth day. Why do we do that? How do we go third day, fifth day? What happened to the fourth day? Okay. So here's the fifth day. It's got waters. Right? And remember, keep telling you, separate the water from dry land, right? So now fifth day, so what's the next one of that? That's the fourth day, because no water is mentioned. So that's how you organize them. So this means no, so actually, this is actually the fifth day. Because you got to reorganize, this is actually fifth day. Right? So what does that mean? Okay, let's go back here. Now on the okay. Where we at? That's the fifth. Let's go back here. Previous. Okay, that's fourth day. That's third day, right? That's 55th day, but it's really fourth. Okay, here. Now, separate. So then you put this in the right sequence. So when you get this right sequence, you're talking about, well, this happened 2,000 years ago and 1,500 years ago. Whatever's happened here, one happened 2,000 years ago, and this one 500 years later. What was that? It said it was two great lights, the rule of day and night. What was these two great lights? Right? That's the Bible and the Quran. They're 500 years apart. And this is the period of time what happened, 2,000 years. That's when the angel was revealed by, we say by Prophet Jesus. And 1,500 years ago, the Quran was revealed. That's why you got to separate the words from, because you put this in the right sequence. Okay? So no words mentioned, and the next one no words mentioned either. And why you separate them? And you put it in the right sequence here. Understand, brothers and sisters? Put in the right sequence. So that tells you the Bible. Remember, it's still derivative. So and it says it's the greater light. Oh, it's greater than the Quran. It says the greater light given to them, and lesser light given to you. But it's all derivative. It's derivative Islam. So the greater light was still Bible. Less light was the Quran. The Quran is likened to the moon. It just reflects the light of the. And the Quran says something to that effect, right? Because it says, how it says it. The Quran is supposed to explain what the Bible's, clip the Bible, whatever. It says something to that effect. I'm going to brothers and sisters. It says the sixth day. That's when the sixth day, what happened the sixth day? Or hell burst loose. It's getting ready to happen, brothers and sisters. So when they come tell you this is Adam, no, this ain't Adam. Don't mention his name, Adam. This is the original people. If you go with Adam, we're going to talk, let's move on. I got something on that. Okay, now. And God created man in his own, see, he said, he created man in his own image. Now if you look at this, he created man, but if you look at Adam's story, he made Adam and didn't make him in his image. He made it out of the dust of the earth. He's talking about two different people. Plus it says male and female here. If you look at male and female, he created them together at the same time. That's not the story of Adam over there. He was made, he wasn't given dominion over everything. And after a while, God, oh yeah, I think you need some helper. And then he made Eve. That's not what's in this one. They're equal. Two different people. This is us here. This is us. We're the ones being transformed into gods. But we don't want us to know that. Don't want you to know it. So, I don't know if you quite down there, but I'll move on. And this is yeah, you see, he made that Adam from dust of the earth. Not the same. They want you to think the same, keep you confused. And of course, did see the fall on Adam. He said, remember, he said Eve was to help make them. And when you read the other one, it says there was male and female gods together. In this case, she's subordinate, right? And the Lord caused deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept and took right. Okay? Not happened to us. Well, guess how Peter from that? Where's Peter? One of the disciples. Farrakhan says Peter. And Peter was like Aaron, was in trouble. Peter was undermining everything Jesus did. He turned hearing on, he would cut your ears off. When he's being crucified, Peter was nowhere to be found. Farrakhan was nowhere to be found when, excuse me, I think I said it wrong. Farrakhan was nowhere to be found when stuff hit the fan. And Peter was nowhere to be found when Jesus got in trouble. But he says Peter. Let's look at Peter a little closely. See? Because you got to pay attention. Now here's Farrakhan. On this rock, he's the rock they build the church on. And have in Moses' absence, right? And it says, on this rock I build my church on Peter, right? And gates of hell will not prevail against it. And that's pretty straightforward, right? Where is it? Look at the word prevail. On this rock I built my church. How long would it take him to build it anyway by itself? Right? So the gates of hell will not prevail against it. So what does that mean? See, first of all, if you build a house on a rock, I wouldn't advise you to do that, see? But the first wind comes, it's going to blow it away. Because it has no foundation, no roots. You don't build a house on a rock. If you do, you know it's going to fail. We understand that, brothers and sisters. It's the way it is. Got to deal with reality as it is. So, he says, sound great, or I build it on this rock, I build my church. So he's the rock and build a church on. But anything you build on a rock, because the wind blows away. Has no roots, has no foundation. But let's analyze that a little more. On this rock I build my church, and the gates of hell, okay, will not prevail against it. So it's giving you a scenario where you got the church on one side, the street, and you got hell on the other side of the street, a fence around it. Now we all know that hell, right, if there's such a thing, hell, gates of hell is designed to keep people in, not to keep people out. Keep us in the end. That's what gates of hell will do. And if it prevails, then this job will always be secure. Understand? Excuse me, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Okay? So, in other words, you got a scenario where you got the church, you got a street, and then you got the hell gates of hell on the other side of it. And Farrakhan's going to heal everybody and all that stuff. But anyway, he's Peter. That's what he says, he's Peter. That's what's it. So he says, on this rock, remember, we got a problem with that right there. But say, for instance, he gets the church on the rock and it's a miracle, right? You don't believe in miracles, there's such thing, but miracles just a situation that you just don't understand. So you got the church, you got hell, and in between, that's the scenario, right? And you got the gates of hell. That's keeping the people in hell in. That's what the purpose is, not purpose keeping any out in. But it says the gates of hell will not prevail against it. When something doesn't prevail, what does that mean? If it doesn't prevail, it means you fail. There's no other interpretation of that. If you don't prevail, you fail. You prevail, that means you overcame. But if you don't, then you fail. You understand? So that means if the gates of hell fail, it says the gates of hell will not prevail. It sounds strong. See, the scriptures usually a lot of times throw you off. Oh man, I'm building one rock, I built my church. So you look at the rock, hey man, this must be stable, it's a rock. But you never seen a house built on a rock. You never have, you never will. So get back here. Okay, last night. So you had a situation where if the gates of hell would not prevail, that means the gates fail. If they fail, remember all this they trying to keep them in, so obviously they have to have it. If they wouldn't have it, they'd come out. They don't want them out. So the hit fails, now they come out. Where? They come right into the church. Fill the church up with demons. That's what he says. Read the Mark, the Legion. Louis Eugene Grounds, they know that backwards. That's what he did. He's Aaron too. You understand, brothers and sisters? You understand that. That's clear. So we got two things here. They messed up on the Genesis. I showed you exactly how to look at it. And he messed up on Peter. Messed up on the creation of Adam. Messed up on Peter. What else going to mess up on? But these people will be talking to God. Have it all down pat. So I built my city. She's birds built. Right? Then what happens? And here's the church, here's hell, here's the gate between them. Gates of hell will not prevail. So they fail. And what happens? Boom. Nothing stopping them. They come and fill up the church. That's exactly what Farrakhan has done. Filled up with demons. You understand that, brothers and sisters? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. And guess anything. Who is Farrakhan? Yes, indeed, who is he? Let's examine that lightly.
I gotta do this. Do you mind? Yes.
Oh, brothers and sisters, I got oh.
I gotta do this. Do you mind? Yes, I'm gonna do something. I don't want to put my brother on the spot. See, this is this. This is something else. Love and faith transcends color. And the reason why we embrace Father Flagler as a brother is because we find him on the battlefield of justice, being a true disciple of Jesus. And the last thing I'll say is, you'll never call us racist.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because this day that we honor,
Yes, sir.
Master Fard Muhammad, if you see an image of him, put his image up.
Yes, sir.
That's the man whose father was a black man and his mother a Caucasian. And how many of us have a parent that's a Caucasian or grandparent? It's not about color. It's about our submission to the will of God. And in that we find common ground and unity. So I'm only one shade lighter than you, so. And Mustafa maybe 4 more shades lighter. We a family.
Yes, sir.
Let's stay a family and be a family and love each other as God would have us to love each other. We love you, Father. Happy Savior's Day. Thank you. I had to do that. We love you.
One more time, brother. Yes. Brothers and sisters, that it's what's the word I'm going to use? Abomination. That is not Elijah Muhammad. It's not even Mr. Not Master Muhammad. Not even close. Not even close. I was there with Elijah from 70, 75. I wasn't just there, I was there. I was official. Actually ran Muhammad Speak newspaper, night shift, foreman. My wife at the time, she ran his dress shop. And that's totally against the lessons, everything. So if you get past this stuff, you stick with him, you keep your head up his ass. Keep right where it is. We don't want you. Because he has demonstrated over and over and over in every way possible that he's filthy. He's no good. He's a messer. He's a son of perdition. He's demonstrated. I mean, you don't have to go to the scripture, but even the scripture, there's no scripture out there that speaks well of him. No matter, you can also Peter, I'll show you what that was about, if you read it correctly. Because of Aaron was bad news. They were all about Aaron. Even the Quran, you can't find reference in the Quran, because the Quran said when Moses came back, he wanted to kill him. Why did he want to kill him? Because he loved him so much? And look here. It's not Photoshop. Kissing him in the mouth. And then they play a trick, the trick they always use. Oh, see, Master Muhammad, he's white. No, he got white skin. He's original. That's the trick they play. Elijah Muhammad called him on that. Malcolm tried to play a trick. Wallace tried to play a trick. Say, well, he said white man's the devil. So listen, Master Muhammad, he's a devil. No, he said the Caucasian white man's the devil. But that's the trick they play. They said, well, he must be out of his mind because he said white man's the devil. They said God is a white man. See, that's the trick they play. They played that with Malcolm played that trick. Well, I got. I'm not going to show it today. But I got Wallace doing it playing the same trick. See, lying on the messenger, and this could be, and he's just, he like he said, Elijah Muhammad said he'd be his worst hypocrite, his worst. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Okay, I'm gonna talk about shitterlings. Now that's exactly what they called it when you was in the fields. When you was an employee in the fields. Because you was an employee, you was working for them, wasn't you? When you worked for them in the fields, when they feeding you, when they clothing you, you was an employee. See, so let's call it what it is. See, so now they changed the name now. It's like shillings. That's what they call it. But then, once you out of there, it's well, let's take the S off and put a C there. Because them niggas, they too stupid. They ain't gonna figure it out. It's called shillings. It don't matter. Because you buy them, you can buy them at Walmart, still sell them. Put them in the sink, water. And if you don't see shit floating on top of the sink, call me. I'll give you. I eat them myself. You know, I seen them cooked. Before my father started converting, he was eating them. And the whole house smelled like shit. You cook shillings, you couldn't stay in the house for a week, 2 weeks, because that whole house stinking. Because you was cooking shit. That's what they called it. I mean, that's exactly what it is. So why they take the S off and put a C there? Because they figure you stupid, you ain't gonna figure it out. Because that's what they fed us. Shit. It says in the scripture, they feed us shit. It says, I can show you the verses. They say we feed shit. So even the Son of Man, right? He said he was spared. He said they would, now just shit. They would have you eating human shit. It says right in the scripture. So they were trying to get the Son of Man to say, well, he was spared. He says, right? He still had to eat cow shit. He had to be. Now you gonna tell me that's matched from Muhammad? You tell me that's matched from Muhammad? He's not dark. He don't have nappy hair. They say he got everything all messed up. And every now I make everything clear. You don't want it, fine. See, that's it. We make it clear. So when you don't accept it, then we know right away. It's like a test. We know how dumb you got to be, and we don't want you, because you're only intelligent, wise people, right? Original. We accept this and move on it. Anybody else that don't, that means we don't want them anyway. It says many will be called and few chosen. Nobody asked you to come over here. I've never asked not one person in 35 years I've been doing this to come over here. And I've asked, I don't want your money because it says a free gift. So why they charge you money for what Farrakhan got? Multi-millionaire. Right? He's been feeding you shit. That's because all that garbage just been like this crime. The Bible says, right? They be giving you philosophy for truth. He got a lot of philosophy, don't he? Feeding you philosophy for truth. So how come you don't break down the Bible? Why you got to go this philosophy stuff? The Bible's not sufficient. He uses it when he want to. Shillings. So many shillings for a man, because that's exactly what they called it. Now you are, well, let's call it chitterlings. Chitterlings. Just take the S off and put a C there. I see you got gold and silver, you got all kind of metals. Okay? And so, if somebody, you wouldn't give a gold mine to an idiot, because somebody come take it away from them. You give a gold mine to an idiot. I mean, they wouldn't know what to do with it. What's the point? Okay? They wouldn't give a shit for him to a genius, because I mean, he got all that genius, but he got nothing to work with. You gotta have something material to work with. You understand what I'm saying? So when you look at the situation, we want the best part of planet Earth. It's got gold, silver, everything. It's the richest continent on the planet. Africa, that includes Arabia too. Arabia is part of Africa. There's no water between the two. It's just a little bridge between the two. And that's what we originally called it. Both of us, Africa, they try to say it's different now. But Arabia, right, is North Africa. And Africa is not named anyway. That's no story together. It's not a name we gave it. That's the name Adam gave it. Right? And the devils, the derivative people that we produce, once we got an energy deprivation period, I mean, we got down to a derivative of ourselves, to produce a derivative man, a grafted man? Well, they're in Europe. And Europe is the worst part of planet Earth. Ain't nothing up there. Ain't nothing up there. That's why they got to go out, take from everybody else. If they had so much over there, why would they have to go take from everybody else? They're going to take everybody. Go colonize Africa, China, or take from everybody else because they have nothing up there. Because they're the worst people. And they wouldn't be able to do anything with it anyway. How come all this democracy and capitalism, all that stuff, didn't come out of Europe? How all this stuff, innovation, how come they come out of here? I mean, they're all white folks, right? So that means they should have been, we're here because they got these niggas over here, man. That should have slowed them down, right? So why is it all coming out of here in America? Why is it all coming out of here? The music, innovation, why is it coming? Everybody's just copying what comes out of here. Because you here, you the gold and the silver. That's what the script says, when you leave, take all the gold and silver with you and you plunder it because you're creative. Now, they're technical people, but a technician can't do a goddamn thing without a blueprint or plan. That's why you got to say B before it is. You don't say B, you don't get the is. The B is the creative side, the is the technical side. I say B, I'm giving you an idea, and then you're technical, but you technician bring it in. Without the B, the is just sitting there. They're technical. Chinese technical, all of them, but they don't come with new ideas. They don't come. All they're doing is doing what. You understand what I'm saying? Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. So let's look at this. You see, chapter 20 in the angel Revelations is talking about European history. That's when they said they come out to see the whole world. Because that's deception, because they don't want you to know that's them, because then you realize everything comes clear then. Because you know who they are, you know who the devils are, you know who Satan is, because it tells you right there, but they tell you something will happen in the future. No, that's them. And say 2 world empires came out of there. See, it's so clear. It'd be 2 world empires come out of there. They tell you, Jesus came back, and he ruled for 1,000 years, and then he decided to go away and let Satan rule. Let me speak on that for a minute. I forgot about speaking that. I don't know. Get lost here. I'm gonna do 3 parts, brothers, because I was gonna finish up today, but a couple of things came to mind. Make a little note here. I'm gonna get off track because I forget what I'm. When you get 76 years old, you gotta make a lot of notes, brothers and sisters. Get ready. A lot of notes. Notice I could see what I'm talking about. Okay. I was talking about chapter 20. Gog and Magog. See, the thing is that they got rid of Islam. It has a form but no substance. They got the Quran, they got the Mecca stuff, but there's no mathematics to it. If Islam is mathematics, Islam, then how come they can't? You can talk to them for hours or years, and they don't give you any mathematics. You get, well, Quran says this, Allah did. What's the mathematics of it? Because the whole universe is mathematics. That's why the devil kicking their ass, because the devil is using mathematics to beat them. The devil is using mathematics to defeat Sunnism. Well, aren't they? Sunni hasn't had a victory in 500 years. But one thing, look. Now these clowns will tell you, nothing happens without the will of Allah. Nothing. Zero. Nothing happens without the will of Allah. So if that's true, what you're saying, I'm not saying what's true or not. Answer a couple questions. Okay. Then he said he put Adam in charge. He said, you know, Adam was wicked, make him shed blood. So that means he put a wicked man in charge of the world. That was his will. So he wanted the world to be wicked? Because if you submit to Adam, you're going to be wicked. Because he's going to make him shed blood. If you submit to him, what else is he going to tell you? He's going to tell you to be righteous. He's going to tell you to follow his nature. A dog ain't going to try to tell you to be like a cat. He's going to try to be like a dog. Follow his. So what is that? And then on top of that, the one that said, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to stick with being righteous, God condemned them, the jinn. Nah, man, you. Oh, well. So, So you're saying that under Adam, the world is, by the will of Allah, it's going to be wicked, and you got to follow that wickedness, or you're going to be chastised or whatever. It's, you're against the will of God. How does that make sense? If you tell me nothing happens without the will of Allah, see, you're going to tell me that's what I tell you. Ask one of them. Nothing happens without the will of Allah. Nothing. And then ask that question. How you explain that one? How you explain it? Because Adam, he makes me shed blood. He's the one who's going to rule. And you got to submit to that. And if you don't submit to it, and you try to keep on following my laws and rules, I'm going to condemn your ass. So how do you make that sense? Tell me how it makes sense of that. See, that's the bullshit they say because they don't know what they're talking about. And see, you can't go over there and over the Middle East and talk because you lose your head in 0 seconds. Boom. See? Because they can't answer it. So they, man, you must be a shirk or something. They cut your head off. Because you ain't on faith. And they got all these different sects and everything over there. Answer that question. The one that was going to keep on doing what he thought was righteous, he condemned them. And the one that was going to be wicked, he said, you go in charge, and everybody better listen to you. That's my will. That story's in there. Explain that one. I can go on and on. Nothing happens without the will of Allah. So in other words, Allah is willing those people. Where's Allah? Wait a minute, what you mean where's Allah? What you mean where's Allah? According to you, He's everywhere. He's here. He's so why if He's always watching, why he allow wickedness to? If there's wickedness in the world, that's His will for it to be in the world. If there's wickedness in the world, it has to be His will that's in the world. So is God evil? Is God Satan? Who? If the world is wicked, it has to be His will for it to be wicked. Otherwise, it couldn't be wicked. And what's happening over in Gaza and everything, that's His will to kill babies, children, all that stuff. It has to be His will. Because you said nothing happens without the will of Allah. Nothing! See? You can't come over here F with me because that's you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Islam is mathematics, and mathematics Islam. That's why you don't understand what you're talking about, because it's all about mathematics. And interest deprivation, you had no idea what that is. You never heard of it before. You got some crazy ideas. See? Because you got the form of Islam, but you don't have the substance of it. The subject has the mathematics. You have the mathematics, you explain all those things I just told you. You can explain them. If you have the mathematics, but you don't have it. You can talk to them imams and everything till you get blue in the face from now to eternity, and they'll never talk mathematics. Not one, any. They never talk mathematics, but they can't. But if Islam is, since you say, well, Islam is not, if Islam being mathematics, then why you can't talk about it mathematically? Because that's all I do, I talk about it mathematically. Okay, so that's what to point it out. Nothing happens without the will of Allah. So let me get back to chapter 20. See, chapter 20, it says 2 world empires will come out there and cover the whole world. Well, it's been 2. It's been 2 European empires. The only powers that's ever been world empires you know about was America and Britain. That's Gog and Magog. And what? They came out 1,000-year millennia in the Dark Ages. So how can you miss that one? They try to ask the future because they don't want you to know who they are. That's Gog and Magog. Somebody's rushing on stuff. No, Gog and Magog will be 2 world powers. There's only been 2, America and Britain. And said the greater one will come last. Read about the ram in Daniel. So America became a great empire than Britain after Britain fell. And it covered the whole world. And it came out of 1,000-year dark that was being held down by a resurrected empire, Abraham's resurrected Islamic empire. They held them down for 1,000 years. It's right there. See? Then you don't get facts here. And like I said, if you sit around, that means you ain't hurting us. We're letting you know that you're too goddamn stupid. And we don't want your dumb ass. Because if you can't see this, that means you're too goddamn stupid. Right? Or you a demon or a devil? Because them devils, they can't see this. They can't see it. Like a blind man. You can show a light you want, they can't see it. They're derivatives. But if you're not a derivative and you don't see this right away, right? That means you dumb as hell. A fool or whatever. We don't want you. So even if we find you out, we're going to throw your ass back. People, I've been doing this 35 years, and I've run people away from me and come in with that bullshit. Gotta go. Well, I ain't asked you to come here. I don't need you. Time is running out. Like I said, you're going to be left here by yourself in tribulation, and you did that yourself because you just rejected Elijah. You did that to yourself. Anyway, see here? So Europe was a shithole. It still is, really. It was a shithole. During the Dark Age, all they did was they didn't build anything. They didn't have any mass or anything. It was backwards. They wouldn't even take a bath. Could you imagine somebody going all their life without ever taking a bath? Yeah. So after 1,000 years, being held down by the Islamic Empire, they was able to break free and God cover the whole world. And what they did, went looking for stuff because they had nothing there. Why they started democracy and all that stuff there? Because they had nothing. And so they first they found out about America. They came and took that. Remember, these were Christians. You don't tell me that Christian shit. Okay. What's the track record of Christians? What's their record? Right? Genocide, murder, right? Enslavement. How do you maintain enslavement? With terror. The terrorist people, raping, sodomizing. Said, know them by their works. I'd be ashamed to be a Christian. They got to walk around with a cross around their neck. That's like, taking and put a bag of shit and put it around your neck. Why would you do that? Because there's nothing good about Christianity. Nothing. Tell me what's good about it. You see what their works are. How they got this country. How they get us over here. How they got half our people, demons, raping our women. Raping them. And feeding our children to gators. These were Christians. That's their record. And now they want to change history. Oh, let's rewrite history. Why you got to rewrite it? Why can't you tell history like it is? Why are you trying to supplant history? I mean, if history's so great, you should be broadcast all over the world. But no, you got to filter it out, change it, and no, you can't teach this anymore. It's called division. Well, you should be glorified, but you should be glorifying your history. You honor maniacs and genocidal maniacs and rapists like Jefferson and Washington. They was the fucking rapists. Yeah, I said it. That's what they were. He was a love affair with Sarah, whatever her name was. Sarah Hillway, whatever. She was this goddamn slave. Well, love affair. He was raping her. It was a love affair. What you gonna say? No. And he had children by her. And these clowns had actually advertising on about several years ago, right? With advertising ancestry, whatever. Had this Negro. He come on. Hey man, I'm a descendant of Jefferson, and I got my history. I got it on tape. I should show the tape, man. I said, what? I said, you're a rape child, fool. I mean, yeah, you got your thing. I don't blame you because you're a rape child, but you can't be part of us. You're a skinfolk. You ain't kinfolk. And I actually wrote a letter to Ancestry. I said, are y'all goddamn stupid? You're going to sit around here, and that boy is a product of rape. He was raping Sally. He's a product of rape. He's a great-grandson of Jefferson. Because he says he's a descendant of Jefferson. He says, I say he's product of rape. And that's what you advertise him? They took that thing off. They must have heard it. Because I never played again after that. I wrote him a letter. I said, y'all goddamn crazy? He's a product of rape. So he's showing that Jefferson was a rapist, pedophile. They don't just rape the women, they raped the men, and raped the children too. They got a movie where the guy, he raped this woman, She had a baby, his daughter, then he wanted to rape her and she ran away. They're sick people. And Europe, they had disease, genocide, all that. And then, like I said, when you take a bath, and then they come here and do the same thing here. That's sort of Joseph. And Joseph had to come, and then they enslaved Joseph's family. That's about us. And then what they did, see? Then they came and did this. And they came here, it was about to turn the shit over, right? Because remember, everything, Ireland was what they call it, what they call it, no, it wasn't drought, what they call it, they couldn't grow potatoes, they couldn't grow any, I forget what they call it, right? But they were starving. Nothing would grow, right? And that's why I was running here, because they had, right? And the poor Indians, that was it. When they were Indians, right, natives, they had pity on them. That's where Thanksgiving come from. And so they were starving. So they went and got a lot of food. They said never saw so much food in their life. Give them a big old bag of food. And what they did, they turned around and killed all them natives. And you fist bump with these people and they haven't changed. When you hate something, you change it or you get rid of it. When you hate something, you change it or get rid of it. If you love something, you don't change it. Why would you change something you love? You protect it, right? But if you hate something, you change it or get rid of it, right? So what they did they change us? The more you hate it, the more you change it. They changed 100%. Total change. Walking around, we don't know who we are. And they actually robbed us blind, literally. They took everything from us, name, culture, land, everything. And then they blind us, we don't even know who we are. Turned it blind. And then that's where they want you. And now, and that's why the good morning stuff come from. They check, see what page you was on. See if you was still obedient, because if you showed any sign, you got your ass whooped. That's why I don't say no good morning. That wasn't the ingredient they used before they put you in the fields. That was a check of slave. They got good morning. Hey, boy, good morning. Because you better say good morning. You're on your way to the fields. You've been only here 2 hours sleep, and they're going to beat your ass all. You're going to work your ass all day under the whip. And they got the females out there, too. They done raped. And she's pregnant. And she's out there, too. She got picked just as much cotton as you do. Or they whip her ass. She's pregnant with their baby. Goddamn people. Now, you don't forget that shit? No. The Bible says it's going to judge this nation. Oh, it wasn't Jeff's, it wasn't me. All of them say it wasn't them. Yeah, it was them. All of them. That's what we do. In fact, a lot of cases, the woman was out there naked. Pregnant out there in the field picking naked. You know why? Because that clown up on a horse, he just jumped down and do him. Well, no struggle, nothing. But that be a struggle that you get. And other men, they had to watch. They got, what you looking at, nigga? You got to be picking cotton. He raping your sister, your mama. If there was any problem, come over here, hold her legs down. And you see Ishmael, hey man, we ain't about color. We all the same. Yeah, hold on to that thought. So then they did that, right? So then what happened next? Then boom, then that boy's over. Now. Because see, they all like abusing shit, but they don't like shit. They all like abusing shit. They don't like shit. So that's why it's envious and everything else. They look for gold and play. They want to get out that shit. They know how to get that. They know how to get the shit over. You know, they were still trying to get some help. So then they found us, and we and all of a sudden everything started changing. Innovation. Well, how come all this innovation not in Russia? How come innovation not in Germany? How come not in France? How come not in these places? Because they ain't got us there. It's all coming out of here. All of the world, all the innovation come from America. Because we here, we're the gold and the silver. We're the one that say be and they say it is. They steal our ideas and every damn thing else. See? They don't want you to know that. And so they take our ideas, they make gold, We make the gold for them, and they feed us shit. Symbiotic. Look up symbiotic relationship. We produce gold for them. They take the gold. They give us shit. The simplest way to look at it like this, right? You go out in the field and you work your ass off, and they, right? And you take and make cornbread and everything for them, right? You cook all this good stuff that you don't eat. They give it to you, right? And then they go and shit in that house, and they come and give you the shit. They just shit out. That's the simplest way of looking at it. That's exactly what was happening. You was giving them cornbread and fish and work, all the stuff you give them, and they go and shit out, and they come here, okay, hey boy, here's some shitlings. There's shit. And they want to keep that relationship going. And what's the solution? Get the hell away from them. But Farrakhan said, no, we ain't going nowhere. Why? Because he's part of it. He's been feeding the Nation of Islam shit for 42 years. He ain't produced a goddamn thing. Got sisters out there pimping, doing fundraisers. So he can sit around and tell them, I gotta go and preach the gospel. The solution, easy solution, get the hell away from them. That way that we can enjoy the gold that we produce and leave them here sitting in their shit. That's the easy solution. That's the solution that Master Muhammad said, solution Elijah said, but not Farrakhan. Farrakhan, God lied, because God said that's the solution. He said, you're going to leave out of there. After 400 years, we're going to get you out of there. We ain't going nowhere. Why? Because he's not Abraham's seed. His father's the devil. He's not going to take advantage of the promise. He's not Abraham's seed. So you're going to, the reward you got, it ain't for him. So he getting everything get out of you right now. That's why it's cursed with a curse, the robber of the nation. Read Malachi. See? So here you are right now. Here's America, shithole. We getting all the shit, and they getting all the gold and silver that we produce. We produce, and they turn into shit that they give us. They control the situation. If we leave out here, that's it. When you leave out here, we leave a great substance. We leave out here with all the gold and silver. That's what see. Read it. That's because us. We leave all the creativity we take with us, and they leave them behind. Said we leave out here with their gold and silver. We plunder them. That means now they plunder means that all their wealth is gone, and their wealth is us, but you don't know it, and they don't want you to know it. So you leave. And they're plundered now. So they back now. They live in their own shit, and now you living back on. Now you back and you join the gold, your gold and silver that you produce. See? Now you going now. You living back in that shit hole. See? Here's America's covered with shit, but we the gold and silver. Everybody's singing because they gave us their mind. So here we eating shit and singing about it. Oh man, them chillers, man, the shit was good. That's how they got so messed up. That's going to change in a minute. Because Master Muhammad get ready to shut that damn record player off. You ain't going to be singing that damn tune no more. See? They got to sing it. Beating ourselves. What do you mean? How would you beat yourself? That means you got your enemy's mind. Only way you beat yourself because you got enemy's mind. They got beating ourselves because you got their mind. If you're in a dog's world, if you're a cat, you live in dog land, and you got if you're a cat living in dog land, right? See? Then, right, you're gonna hate cats and love dogs if you want to be survived there. Hate yourself because you want to be successful there. That's what happens. See, now we're going. They back to who they were when they was up in Europe. Cave people. They can't produce a goddamn thing. It's us doing it, but then what you know. A nigga, we, ain't no goddamn we, unless you're a demon. They go back to this. And us, we back over here, now we singing, and we got all the gold and silver back our land. They over there eating shit. That's hell. This what it be. That's what it's describing. Heaven is when we back over here and we enjoying music and we enjoying our music and our gold and silver, and this is hell for them. That's what they when they separate, because right now you got heaven and hell mixed together. When you separate, they get to hell and we get to heaven. That's what it means, brother and sister. It's never going to come back again. That's what's going on. Huh? Shit. That's all they can produce. All of them. We produce gold and silver. Even our music. The world is the world bump into Beethoven and Bach, or they bump into Jay-Z and Prince and whatever, right? Okay, let's do this, brother, sister. And, I think I'm gonna do a 3-part. Yeah, I might. Okay. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm trying to explain what's going on right now, but I'm gonna give you history. And now these lies was telling you. See, they don't know what they're talking about. They say, oh, Elijah Muhammad and Farrakhan as the two witnesses. That's bullshit. Or you gotta just read it. Well, if Farrakhan is witness, no. I'm gonna tell you who's the two witnesses. I'm gonna show you. If you read the whole story, it couldn't possibly be them two. Because they got everything wrong. They got Genesis wrong, Adam wrong. What's the other one? The Millennium, chapter 20. They're all wrong. Because they're guessing. Remember, the only way you get it right, you have to have broken the seals. It's the only one could do it. And the reason why it couldn't be, because it's a derivative of the Bible. Their Bible, still Bible, is derivative of the regular Bible. And so they derivative people, they cannot break the seals because they don't have a three-dimensional quality. Because the whole Bible is three-dimensional. But they don't have any third-dimensional attribute. They don't even know there's such a thing. See, that's why no one could do it. But the Lamb, once he start energizing, he start cultivating his nature, and all of a sudden, things start popping up. Then, where'd that come from? See, that's three-dimensional. Because we didn't even know it was three-dimensional. Because energy deprivation was two-dimensional. See, it was derivative of ourselves. But once we start eating and start getting energy, we start growing three-dimensionally. You understand? We start growing three-dimensionally. If you're three-dimensional, you start growing. You couldn't because, in other words, if you're starving and you ran out of, you can't see now, you can't hear because all this been shut down. Well, you start eating, all of a sudden start coming back. Because before I can't hear nothing, I can't see nothing. So now you're a two-dimensional person, but then you start getting food, and all of a sudden now, because you're on the level with the deaf and the dumb, right? So you walk around blind like them and deaf like them, but they are really deaf. They're really blind, see. And you're not. You just blind because of circumstance, and you're deaf because of circumstance because you have enough energy to maintain it. They shut down. But then you start getting energized. All of a sudden now you start seeing and hearing, and they still walk around blind and deaf because they don't have it. They're blind. They can't hear. That's the way they made. That's what's happening, brothers. So he started managing energy properly, and all of a sudden started going. So once he started seeing three-dimensional, he looked over there and saw the angel, and he saw it was three-dimensional. That's why they couldn't see it. It's impossible. Even right now, it says this guy's preaching all the world, but they'll never understand it. It's impossible. A blind man would never see light, no matter how much you show it to him. Understand? Let's move on. Okay. Now, the apocalypse is a global war. It's time of unprecedented trouble. But Armageddon is a European war. I'm not going into all complete detail about that here. But I'm just giving you a little general, right? I have a presentation that goes into much detail. But anyway, if you go in there, it talks about these. It says, one was like a lion. Oh, I keep forgetting to do that. I do it. Okay, okay. You'll see in a minute. One was like a lion, one was like a calf, one was like a eagle, one was like a face of a man, and then he has 7 spirits, right? So each one is 7, but each one has 6 wings, right? See? And it's got that, right? So that's the angel key. That's what they describe. They tell you how this key looks like. Okay, here you go. I still didn't do it all. Because this top of this should be gold too. The top of these should be gold. I forgot to do it, brothers and sisters. The top one, see, this represents the nation. And the top 2 is the Islamic part. The bottom 2 is the Christian part. I mean, the Catholicism part. Right? The Christian part, right? Or whatever religious part. Could be anything. But the Catholicism is the bottom. That's the worst of it. And top is the Islamic part of that nation. Right? And so what you have here is that it talks about this one nation, the eagle, that was controlling all the other ones. That eagle, right? That's European nation. They control the other ones. So he's got 6 wings, right? But the top part, they're Europeans, but on the maternal side, it's like Master Muhammad. White complexion, but it's really original. So the Islamic part, and the Islamic part of that is Iran and Syria of Europe. Islamic part, they're the golden. That's the gold. Those are 2 golden crowns you see. Talking about 24 elders. Now, if you look at these 6, right? It's 24. Those not the 24 scientists. Elijah Muhammad had it wrong, but how he couldn't get it right is impossible because he had to break the seals. He never claimed that broken the seal, so he was guessing about because it says no one even got any of this right. They couldn't. It says no one could look at anything until he broke the seal. So anybody looked at was guessing. Elijah Muhammad was guessing. He didn't get any of it right. No one in my 35 years, no one's got not even one verse right yet in the Revelation. Not one. Okay. So that's the 24 elders, right? And this was like a lion, right? This was like a lion, so whatever. But remember, this is like a calf. So this is the Asian part. Now the top Asian part would be the Arabs. Golden calf, Sunnism. That's what golden calf is. Now tell me it's not, because you don't know what it is. The Quran doesn't tell you. That's what Aaron would have people worship golden calf, and that's what Farrakhan doing, trying to take you back to Sunnism. Now tell me it's not. How you worship the golden calf, right? Okay, let's go further. Now it says structure don't make any sense. Okay, let's see. This represents Britain. What was Britain's primary control at? Over Asia. They dominated Asia, India, Arabia, all that. That's where they dominated. What about Europe? Africa. This represents Africa line. They colonized Africa. That was Europe. This coincidence? What about America? They had us, enslaved us, and they corrupted us. That's why these demons half man, half devil, half man. That means rape children. They're skin folks. They raped our women so much that half of us are really dim and black skin. That's what it corrupt was, because gold when we first came here, gold represented Islam. They got corrupt. And then down here, right? Okay, so well, what about the over here? What about Russia? Okay, Russia controls this sphere, right? Oriental sphere with communism. Korea, Vietnam, see China. See what I'm saying? They have ideological control, right? This had colonization control. This had this was colonized, right? What should I call this? Dominated. They dominated the Middle East. They colonized Africa, right? Ideological control. And us, right? Holocaust, enslavement, everything. See what I'm saying? And so it says Satan was controlling the whole affair. Now Iran and Syria wasn't involved in any of that stuff. That's the golden ones that they cast their throne, cast their crowns down. But it says Satan had the book. See, they tell you this one sitting on the throne is God. How would it be God? If God would have a book in his hand that he wrote, but he didn't understand it. He said, no one heavens or earth or under earth could do it but the Lamb. You understand? So this is the one he took the book from. They had the book. Europeans had the book. He took it from and broke the seals. You can read that at your leisure, brothers, because it's talking about, okay, we're going to talk about chapter 11. Chapter 11. Okay, I'm going to see if I can make this bigger, brothers and sisters. And I think I'll do this in 3 parts. Okay. Make this bigger. Okay, see, make it any bigger. Yeah. Okay. It talks about, in chapter 11, it says, and it's got some dates there. See? So it says, I will give my 2 witnesses, these 2 witnesses, right? And they will prophesy for days 2060, right? 2060. So if you break that down, right? I mean, days 1,260. That's 1,260 or 42 months, which really turned out, if it's, remember, it's a coded book, it's 42 years. So it's talking about from 1948, when they first set false Israel up, 1948, they were prophesied to 1990. That'd be 42 years. And then, after 42 years, then that's when America and Britain would invade. See, they're on top right now. In the Middle East, they're on top. So that's when America, Britain, Gog, Magog, that's America's Gog, Magog. Magog means the mother of Gog, and false Israel. That's when they would invade the Middle East. 1990, that's what, right? 99, so 99 is 1991. And so they would take control of the Middle East. So they push down. This was telling chapter 11, right? And it says they would be slain, right? Well, Farrakhan and Elijah were slain, okay. And it says, and that would be for 3 days and a half. And they would say 3 and a half. They talk about 3 years and a half for the 42. See, you got to figure this stuff out, which is 24 years. So for 24 years, they're in a position, America would have total control of the Middle East, and they'd be in a subservient position for 24 years. Right, which would lead them to what? See, that's right. 3 days and a half, right? That would lead them to what? That's when JCOP will come along. That's when that what? In 2000, between 2015, 2000. No, okay, I said this. 2000. Okay, back up. Amen. If you add, right. That'd be from to 2015, and that's when JCPOA would come in, 2015, 16, right? So they'd be here, down. Because when it says they put them on the foot of the nations, in other words, they was under control of UN. That's what they talk about. They'd be on the foot of the nations, right? So that's what it says. I will give to my right, and also, and they would. They'd be on the foot of the nations, right? How long? Oh, for 42 months, right? 42 months. How much? That's 3.5 years. So they'd be on the foot of the nations. The Obama put them there, right? The JCOP, and after what? 3.5 years. Trump came along and tore it up. Now this is what they tell you happened in 11. That's exactly what happened. And I told everybody they're not going back to JCOP, JCPOA. I got presentations out there that talk about this while it was happening before it happened. Well, I have to look on YouTube. I'm not Farrakhan. Watch the weather. I told you about this before it happened, and while it's happening, I told you they would not. This would happen, and they would not go back to JCPOA. So here, and they would be like this here, right, for 3.5 years, and then what? Okay. And then they say start moving up, right? 3.5 days, have the spirit of life coming in. You got to understand the spirit, but I'm not going into detail about that. They're right here, this is where they are right now. Right? They're pushing back against America and Britain to fall. They're pushing. That's what Iran and Syria, they're pushing against what's going over in the Middle East right now. It's a conflict between the two. That's where we are right now in time. That's the two witnesses. And it says if you read the fifth seal, it says he wouldn't go into the first seal was talking about in the fifth seal. They're talking about two players there, Iran and Syria. He said he would not go in until Syria was taken down. Syria was just taken down. And I got presentations I talked about before any of this happened. In detail. Not watch the weather. Okay? So here it is right now. And this was where we are right now. And this was about to happen. Okay? Now they're going to, okay? Now they actually go, right? They actually pushing directly against them now. Directly against them now. That's the war. Right? Pushing, see? They was over here. Now they're pushing, they're pushing up against them. Remember they came down, they want to go back up. And now that's the war. And that's going to happen. And it says, it's the king of north and the king of south. The king of north, the king of south pushes the king of north. That's what's happening right here. But the king of north will come against them at a whirlwind. And that's exactly what they're saying was happening. That's what it says in the script. The king of north, that's Iran, will come out of a whirlwind. And they're going to knock them out and take control of the Middle East. That's what they're afraid of over there. That's what's about to happen. Not next year, in a few more days. If not, maybe tomorrow. Maybe it's happening now. But they're getting ready to go to war. And that's what happened. They're going to, America and Britain are going to be kicked out. The Middle East, just like it says in chapter 12, war in heaven. That's where they're talking about this. And then what? And then that's when Suleiman was going, that's back here, please. During this time, back up. Kind of show that. It's during this time when this happened, that's when, because when the war starts, if you read Exodus, that's when Aaron is set down. This is when all the thrones are cast down, and then Suleiman takes control of NOI. But they don't come to him. I'm not going to them, they come to me. Right? Well, they come to NOI, get together, right? Okay? And this is as the war's in a few more days, because at this point now they're at war. You can't see it, but they're at war. They're pushing against them, and boom, and they're victorious. Victorious. America was kicked out of the Middle East. Hold on a second, brothers and sisters. So when that happens, brothers and sisters, now this whole thing is about, let's talk about that earlier. The whole thing is about, people say, why are they helping false Israel? Why are they so, what's the upside of this? Because they set them up there to destroy our vision. See, it's a long story, but only vision we had, Christianity was given to us as a hope. That's the only hope we had during the Holocaust. We didn't have any vision, we had no language, we had no religion, anything. So that was giving us hope. That's why if you read a story about Moses putting a brass serpent on the stick. I'm not going into that kind of detail here, brothers and sisters, but that's. And then when mass problem came, he gave us a vision. People without vision will perish. But hope will do. If you don't have vision, hope is the next best thing. Because hope means that you're still alive, that you think things will get better. So that's what we had was hope. Right? Let me do something here. I didn't really do this right. There you go. That's better. That's better. So he had was hope. So then he gave a vision that we're true to Abraham and Abraham a covenant. That's it. Can remind us of that. But they don't want. But that vision would mean we would rally around that because now we know who we are. And so they had to say no, because they was killing each other. They was killing false Israel. They was eradicating them. America, everybody's on board with that. And all of a sudden, the next day, they lovey-dovey, they love each other. No, because they had to use them to counter the vision that Master Muhammad gave us, and Elijah Muhammad promoted, that we're true to Abraham. He says, no, they are, see? They went back home, see? They went back, and the promise, they didn't go back no promise now, because we read the scripture, right? It says, the true to Abraham would go back to Arabia, between River Euphrates and the River Egypt. Looking on the map, that's Arabia. See, but they couldn't pull that one off. But see, so therefore, they got his preacher saying the same thing. And then Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm and Martin Luther King got together. We have a picture of them, and he told about that vision. And Martin Luther King went out and gave a promised land speech. Some people say, anyway, and he was dead the next day. They blew his brains out the next day. But they don't want you. That's why he supported. Because if we realize who we are, they're finished. We ain't gonna eat their shit no more and build gold for them. They're finished. So they gotta keep us blind, deaf, dumb, and blind to who we are. That's why I said the man was walking around. He didn't have his own mind. It's telling Daniel and in Mark that our minds was taken from us. So we giving their minds. So we love them and hate ourselves. I hate niggers, but you love devils, and they did all stuff to us. You understand? So anyway, that's why they support false no matter what they do. And they can't condemn because hell, they're doing the same. How America got the same history they got. They got even worse. America did 10,000 times worse than what they're doing over there. So how can they blame them? Anyway, the bottom line is that's why. So what happens is that what's happening here is that when this war is, false Israel is under siege, and American Britain is about to, God is about to be thrown all the way out. And so they're going to be isolated. That's why I said, Jerusalem shall my armies flee. Well, who controls Jerusalem? It said it's clear language. It said we see Jerusalem shall my armies flee because their destruction is near. Their destruction. So whose destruction? I mean, the false Israel tell you they don't want to control Israel. I mean, Jerusalem is their capital. It says we see it's around, their destruction is nigh. It says right there. They're about to be destroyed. It says it right there. Read it. They said, no, Jesus will come and save them the last minute and everything else. Forget about the part in their Talmud. Look up Talmud. They trying to change it now. In their Talmud, they say Jesus in hell balling his own shit. That's their holy book. It says that in there. They try to clean up now. But it's in there. So that's why, because they need them to counter so we don't think who we are. But that's the problem right now, because now if falsehood goes down, that means they couldn't have been the true Abraham. They couldn't have been. That means we must be, and it's all over for them if we start coming to that recognition. That's why I set them up. So that's what happens. Look what happens here. See, and they stood upon their feet. Read the structure. I'm just showing you what the scriptures say in chapter 11. And bam, they attack us. They're thrown out of the Middle East altogether. And here, America, this is Europe and Russia. That's Armageddon. Because they're at war between Russia and Europe. Europe is going to turn and turn on them, help recommend. They're already getting mad at Europe because maybe Trump to turn on them. So it's an easy thing that they go betray America and help, and they go. That's Armageddon. America fighting for his life, because one of the reasons why, because when they kicked him out, it says the King of the North is going to take control of the whole Middle East. They're going to control all and everything else, which Europe totally depends on. They was getting from Russia, but America blocked that. So only oil they get. So now they starving. They have no oil. Total economic collapse. Read chapter 18. Only source of oil would be from Russia. Russia has plenty of oil. So to keep the economies going, because America can't give, I don't care how much oil America has, they couldn't get it to them. You can't fly it over in planes. You have to put it in ships. It'll take months to get there, even weeks. And plus, how many, you got to have a lot of ships to supply the whole country. See? So they turn on Russia and they turn on America, and America's getting their ass kicked over there. All their base and everything else, they turn on them. That's Armageddon, European war. Meanwhile, they're attacking us because they know. That's why I said when you see Jerusalem armies flee, because they're going, once they see forces in trouble, they're going to attack us. They feel they have no choice, because attack us before we realize who we are. Because false Israel under siege is about to go down. They're going to attack us. They're going to attack us. See here? They're going to attack us. It's all blacks, not just us. The demons too. All blacks are going to attack all. They ain't make no distinction. That's what it means. That's why I say flee. When you see that, flee. Why? They say if you got your babies in the house, don't go get your baby. Flee. That's how critical it's going to be. If you can't even go in the house, you get a baby. You can't. You got to run. Because both of you and your baby be dead. They're going to be cannibalism off the page. They say flee immediately. That's how bad it's going to be. Where you fleeing from them. Because now they want to get rid of you, because they know if you come back, you come together, they're in trouble. So what happens next? The enforcer is taken out. And before it's taken out, it's going to be, what they're doing to the Palestinians over there right now, it's going to be done to them in spades. I said it right now, only obituary. Because what they're doing, that's what Amalek is really about. Amalek is about revenge. And Palestinians never did to them what they do to the Palestinians. So it's revenge. And so they're going to circle them. They ain't going to kill them right away. They're going to put them under siege. No food, no water, anything coming there. And so their men will be their sons, the father will be the sons, the son will be the daddies. And they're going to be cannibalism. And they're going to have drones flying over so the whole world can see that they were total ape. They were total animal. And then they're going to kill them. Okay? And that's what you have right here. Right? And Suleiman will be here with the NOI protecting them. Right? Suleiman, that's the sun, represents the sun. People in dark skin, great light. Right? And then it says, they heard a voice from heaven. So hear that right now. This is the situation it's going to be. You will see this in a few more days, brothers and sisters. This year. Maybe this week. You're going to see it. Right? Then what? Now the four winds are blowing. When the four winds blow, what happens? The resurrection takes place. Okay? The chaff and the wheat come together, and then we have to separate the chaff from the wheat. So bring them all together, then Suleiman separates them. Right? That's in Mark. They want to go back to their devil daddies. We go back to swine daddies. Okay? Now, I'm going to close out in a minute. During tribulation, NOI is going through tribulation. They have to go through tribulation. That's what it says about the message of the covenant, right? But demons are going through it, but they were separated. Now, demons, it says there's going to be a war between them, and Exodus tell you, But the bottom line is they're going to, it'd be 17 million stronger than they're going to try to take America. They say, we ain't going nowhere. Farrakhan's be with them. He come out of his, whatever, but he's going to be with them. So he ain't dying anytime soon. But anyway, that's the demons, Christian blacks, right, or whatever. And it says for 5 months. That story of Samson. That's what Samson was a demon. I know you don't see it, but and at the end, because he was a slave too. But he got his power back. When he did, he went after destroying them. That's story of Samson, right? And so, but he destroyed himself in the process. So what's happening is they're going to be raging war, and America will be total disunited, to unprecedented trouble, right? It's like it's not going to be used. It's going to be total chaos here. People eating their own children, everything else. It's total chaos. No government. Whatever little military is left will be much. And after a while, they won't have the military because the soldiers and everything, they be hiding in the alleyways, holding their groins like a woman in labor. So it'd be total chaos. But the demons, they have a slight sense of unity, so they got a little bit of us in them. And they're going to work to try to take this country. That's what they've been preaching, right? Reparation, all that kind of stuff. And they're going to succeed. Because they're going to be united, and all those countries are told it's chaos. There's no be united. I mean, if Trump's gone, because they probably shoved a sword up his mind. He'll be blamed for all this. He had riding high now. He'll be blamed for it because he shouldn't have messed with Iran. He's always pushing them to it. So they're going to Gaddafi him. And all these preachers, you don't be a preacher. It's going to be terrible. Time unprecedented trouble. You understand? But the thing is that Campbell is going to reign, and they're going to stick together, and they're going to actually have control of America for a brief, maybe a day, 2 days, whatever. They have to actually win, and what happens? They go in when the goat comes. Read Daniel. That goat that comes after the ram. The ram is America. 2 horns, Gog and Magog. And it says feet does not touch land, but it comes from the west. That has to be, that land has to come over the Pacific Ocean. And how is he going to do it, Jared? Right? And so it has to come to a country that's also on the borders. So China and India, that's the 10 horns. That's the goat. And both of them have borders on the Pacific Ocean on the west side. And America's border is on the east side. So for their feet to come and not touch, and hit them without touching land, it has to come across the Pacific Ocean. That's the only way you can interpret that. And when they come, they tear America's ass up. But when they come, that's at the same time that the NOI, because that's where it's in Exodus, when they got to the Red Sea, that's because the Red Sea goes Red China. It's beautiful when you understand it, brothers. And they made an agreement with Master Muhammad, just let them pass. Because they'll be arriving at the same time. And he's open up, let the NOI pass, the ones that make it through tribulation, let them through. Because remember, they was being chased and everything else by Pharaoh's armies. Let them through. So open up, let them through. And then they closed in on Pharaoh's armies, whatever left of America. They tear it up. They tear it to pieces. You understand? And that's all about. But the point is, at that point when that happens, the demons will be in control. And this is what's going to happen here. That's what it's this. You see what's going to happen next. Right? Remember, this right here, there are horns. Remember, they had 10 horns. Am I showing it here? Yeah. The goat had 10, the beast had 10 horns. That's 10 horns right here. That's these. That's America. That's China and India. Right? And what happens? And they come in, they take out the demons, destroy America. The demons will be in control at the time. They finally got America. A Pyrrhic victory. You understand, brothers? I'm telling you exactly what's about to happen. Let me close out. But again, I put mathematics to it, it just shuts everything down. Here's us moving in a righteous direction, mind our own business right. Here comes perpendicular, totally different nature, two-dimensional. Adam, devils, and vectors. So what happens if you travel down the road at 50 miles an hour north, all of a sudden you get hit by a 50 mile an hour west wind? What's going to happen? This is what's going to happen. It's thrown off course. Whose fault is it? Is it yours or the wind? Whose fault is it, Farrakhan? Is it your fault or the wind's fault? See, because our people act like this is because it's the devil's fault. You accusing us when it's their fault. That's why I call it accused by brethren. And you're going to be taken down hard. There's nothing wrong with our people. Like Elijah Muhammad said, and Master Muhammad said, nothing wrong with them. It's and you can tell, okay, if he's going down and just move, then you know, if he's moving in the western direction, you mean that tells you all about the wind. And say, oh, well, his wind must be, if he's moving 50 miles an hour, he's going like that there. Now the wind must be a 60 mile an hour wind, and it must be moving eastward if he's moving towards eastward. So that tells you about the wind. Like if you see leaves shaking, oh, you don't have to see the wind, but you say, hey, the wind's going about 50 miles an hour. See how the leaves are shaking? And the leaves are blowing westward, so that means the wind must be blowing west. See, you know all about the wind by the reaction. You don't have to see the wind. And so look at our people. If our people act like hoes and pimps and all that kind of stuff, that's because that's who the devils are. That's who they are. Because once the wind stops blowing, you start going in the right direction again. That's why people act like that. They wouldn't act like they came here. And then that's why Farrakhan, he'd accuse us, say, yeah, it's them. It's not the devils. Because he won't put the blame on us. Because he's one of them. You understand? So how you going to blame us? Blame the car going sideways and when the wind is blowing on it? No. So that's how you know their nature. That's their nature, being pimps, hoes, all that stuff. Because if they was righteous like us, they'd be in this direction pushing us up. But no, they're wicked. And so they force us, and you get rid of them, they're to blame. You get rid of them, and then we start going back up again, like it was before. Farrakhan. Whose fault is it, Farrakhan? Lion dog. Okay, I'm just letting these play, bro, since there's nothing close. I'm letting some of these play. In his own words. Farrakhan, his own words.
Although the Nation of Islam, does not presently advocate violence by its members, the group does preach hatred of the white race and racial separatism. The membership of the Nation of Islam is organized and poses a real racial threat. The Nation of Islam is responsible for the largest black nationalist newspaper, which has been used by other black extremists. The Nation of Islam appears to be the personal fiefdom of Elijah Muhammad. When he dies, a power struggle can be expected and the Nation of Islam could change direction. We should be prepared for this eventuality. We should plan how to change the philosophy of the Nation of Islam to one of strictly religious and self-improvement orientation, deleting the race hatred and separate nationhood aspects. In this connection, Chicago should consider what counterintelligence action might be needed now or at the time of Elijah Muhammad's death to bring about such a change in Nation of Islam philosophy. Important considerations should include the identity, strengths, and weaknesses of any contenders for Nation of Islam leadership. What are the positions of our Bureau deletion informants in regard to leadership? How could potential leaders be turned or neutralized? The alternative to changing the philosophy of the Nation of Islam is the destruction of the organization. This might be accomplished through generating factionalism among the contenders for Elijah Muhammad's leadership or through legal action in probate court on his death. Chicago should consider the question of how to generate the factionalism necessary to destroy the Nation of Islam by splitting into several groups. Bureau deletion. Do you think that the FBI just folded and walked away? Read this document carefully. Did not the FBI accomplish each of their goals? Did not Farrakhan deliver everything the FBI wanted? We should plan to change the philosophy of the Nation of Islam to one of strictly religious and self-improvement orientation. Sunniism, Scientology. Deleting the race hatred. Don't call devils anymore. Deleting the separate nationhood aspects. We ain't going nowhere. No existing economic program. The reason why these facts are ignored is because those that surround him are demons, fools, idolaters and FBI agent handlers who make sure he stays on track.
My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will. You and I, turning your face from your own native land, turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel? Acting sick. And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why should not you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment, condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools, but not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man say you are free. Remember that.
Washington, D.C. Louis Farrakhan suspects that his father may have been Jewish. At least that's what he tells Henry Louis Gates Jr. in the current issue of the New Yorker magazine. Speaking of his father's white Portuguese parents, the Nation of Islam leader said, "I'm going to tell you something. You really want to know what I think? I think they were members of the Jewish community." He added, "I believe that in my blood, and not in a bad way. Because when I was a little boy I used to love listening to the Jewish cantors in Boston. They had a program, and every week I would listen. I was struck by the cantor, and I've always loved the way they sing or recite the Torah." Gates, citing an academic source, says Farrakhan's assertion about his lineage is highly probable given that nearly all people of Iberian descent in Jamaica and Barbados are of Sephardic Jewish ancestry. Farrakhan was born in 1933, the son of May Clark, who was from Barbados. He was named Gene after his father, a light-skinned man with straight hair from Jamaica. His father, Gates writes, was a philanderer whom the family rarely saw. "If in my lineage there are Jews, I would hope that in the end, before my life is over, I not only will have rendered a service to my own beloved community of black people but will also have rendered a service to the Jewish community," Farrakhan was quoted as saying. In the interview with Gates, which reportedly lasted 9 hours, the Nation of Islam leader also made reference to wise Jews who plan evil, the international conspiracy of Jewish bankers and overwhelming Jewish complicity in the slave trade. Jewish groups expressed outrage over Farrakhan's latest public statements. Farrakhan's effort to make it appear that he is merely criticizing the evil he finds in his own Jewish antecedents is a reflection of the bizarre and ludicrous nature of his entire behavior towards Jews, Phil Baum, executive director of the American Jewish Congress, said in a statement. Meanwhile, a planned protest against the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith fizzled last week when Washington, D.C., police denied former Nation of Islam spokesman Khalid Abdul Muhammad entrance to the B'nai B'rith office. Flanked by 4 bodyguards in black fatigues, Muhammad took a moment to rail against the ADL and the Jewish community before he departed the scene. "This is a criminal organization and a criminal enterprise that has lied and spied on black leaders and black organizations," said Muhammad, who was dismissed as Farrakhan's spokesman in 1994 in the wake of a national controversy surrounding a vehemently anti-Semitic speech he delivered at Keene College in New Jersey. Muhammad called the ADL and its parent organization, B'nai B'rith, one of the main arteries of improper propaganda and nefarious activity that has greatly influenced the larger American Jewish community. In brief remarks to reporters, Muhammad said the black man and black woman are the chosen people of God and we want to put an end to this lie of the so-called Jews, these people who crawled out of the caves and hills of Europe just a few years ago claiming our birthright. Standing astride Muhammad was Malik Zulu Shabazz, the leader of the Washington, D.C.-based Unity Nation who gained notoriety for leading anti-Semitic chants at Howard University student rallies in 1994. Shabazz said the ADL is an oppressive organization that comes from a people that are by nature evil and wicked.
So you had this Negro butt here. Oh, that's not Farrakhan's daddy. Right? They spell his name wrong. Yeah, but that's not what Google says here. It got Farrakhan's name, Louis Eugene Walker. I got his mother, Sarah Mae. Right? He said, oh no, well, says because he got an E in his clock with E. Well, let's find out clock. Let's go. What about this one?
So long till they don't know the birth record. Remotest antiquity.
Man should be called, but few should be chosen. See here, right? See right here? He said, oh, let's back up here, previous. And he complained, oh, that's his daddy. You start with the stars of sperm. You are what your father is. I don't care what you say. Oh, it don't matter. Try to get around. Well, yes, God made you the womb. What'd you make you with? So if you believe that stuff, brothers and sisters, keep believing it. We're not trying to convince you. I've been 35 years doing this, and I ain't trying to convince you at all. I don't want your money. I don't want, don't waste my time. If you're dumb enough to keep believing this stuff, and all these facts we're showing you, then keep believing it. Keep your head up his ass. We don't want you. This is not a Jesus trip here, where we're trying to save everybody. No. Come on, you saved. No. It says, many be called, but few should be chosen. We have to choose you. And we're not choosing any ignorant, dumbass people. First, you have to, first qualification is your response to this message. You're not forced to respond to it. So you have to come this way, showing you respond to it, and then we start check you out. And if you're dumb enough to be stuck up, the guy said stuck Farrakhan's ass, just keep it there. We don't want you.
So long till they don't know the birth record. So they just say from remotest antiquity, this is the house that God used to manifest his wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and power in and through. Where is he now? Wherever he want to be. I'm not going to say I know where he is, but I'm glad his power is everywhere. I think I know where he is. I don't want to say because I could be wrong. But he's wherever he wishes to be. Are we to pray and worship Master Farad Muhammad? You don't worship the flesh of any man, because the flesh is going to die. But in that flesh is a wisdom and a power superior to any human being on the earth. So when we look to Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, we look to him. And when he ain't no longer here, the power is going to be here. Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he would live a minimum of 400 years, but 400 years ain't no time. He'll be gone. But before he goes, the foundation of what he lays will never be erased from the planet. That's a God. He prays. He prays. He don't pray to himself. You don't say, surely I have turned myself to me. Who does he pray to? He prays in remembrance of him who originated that which he came in. He came in this body. You can't ignore him who originated this. Anyway, it's deep. It's a big subject. I want to say to my Muslim brothers, when I was in Mecca, I was there for 3 days. I was there for 3 days, and in the 3 days that I was there, wrangling with the scholars, we talked about this. And when I finished explaining, the heaviest scholars there didn't bother to argue. They had to go away and study it. And what we don't realize is God has chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. And what you're doing, you are following those that God wants to put you over. The Arab is a good person, basically. They've done a wonderful job in keeping the book of God pure. And we are grateful to them for so doing. But they messed up. It's your turn now. And God will see how you act. But you're not to follow Arabs. You're to lead them. And you can't lead them following them. See, they like to see you imitating them. Just like white Christians want to see black Christians imitating them. We're not to follow white people today. They had their day of rule and their day of rule.
Beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest practices in all the religions is prayer. The form and style of prayer varies from faith to faith, but prayer is universal. There is no religious community that does not pray. No prophet of God that did not pray. Abraham prayed, Noah prayed, Moses prayed, David prayed, Joseph prayed, Jesus prayed, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, prayed, Mustafa Muhammad prays.
He's a goddamn lie. Master Muhammad didn't pray to anybody. He's a God. He's a made God, but he's still a God. He don't pray to anybody. Elijah Muhammad never said he prayed to anybody. He walked back and forth reciting the Quran. He didn't pray to anybody. Gods don't pray. And if he pray, who's he praying to? Listen to what Farrakhan says. Listen to what he said. I said, if you buy that shit, then you please stay away from here. He said, you can't. He said, first of all, he don't believe Master Muhammad is a man. He don't believe God is a man. He said it. You can't play the Master Muhammad because he's flesh. And that was Elijah Muhammad made. He drilled that home for 42 years. God is a man. God is a man. Farrakhan just told you he's not. He's not. And you don't pick it up. He's flesh. And you can't worship him. But you got to worship the one that made flesh. Right? The originator. And you don't even worship him. He's 72 trillion years dead. You don't even worship him. You worship remembrance of him. What the? And you still there? Stay there. Keep your head right up his ass, because, woo, you don't need, I mean, Christians got it better than that, because they say pray to a dead man, but he come back to life. But do you saying pray to a dead man 73 years dead, but you don't even pray to him. You pray to remembrance of him. What the remembrance of him going to do for you? Let's look at this and I'm going to close out, brothers and sisters. Ooh. See what it said right there? Allah God answers prayers. How can remembrance of something answer any kind of prayer? They don't believe in Master Prophet Muhammad. They tell you. How many ways they got to tell you? They tell God ain't no man. Like Muhammad said, God's a man, so we leaving here, separate. They said, no, we ain't going nowhere. You can't worship flesh. They said everything opposite, and you still there. That means you're a demon, and you ain't with you're not with Elijah Muhammad. Because all you got to do is read the lessons, and then the devil's all right now. We're gonna save them and our brothers. And you want to tell me that's Elijah Muhammad's teaching? Every point they attack every point. First of all, God is not a man, right? We ain't going nowhere. Elijah Muhammad taught separation. God's man was two primary points, right? And then third, devils are devils, and they can't be redeemed. Oh no, we're gonna redeem them. You see, faith, our brother, man, we love him because you see. And the lesson said just the opposite. And here we go. Now here's the one without the E. Same picture. He said, remember, he can't be the one because his father don't have the E. Well, this don't have the E, same picture. And still, Louis Eugene Walker, right? Farrakhan. Now, I ain't put this there. This is Google it. You see it right there. I don't have control of Google. Hold on. Now, here's illustrious, loving Farrakhan. Listen to him.
When the Muslims were alive.
And he's the one who killed him. Hold on.
When the Muslims were alive, I'll say it again. When the Muslims were alive, you dead as hell now on both sides.
Yes, sir, brother Minister. Yes, we are. Yes, sir. That's real, brother Minister. Both sides. That's real. Wake us up, dear Apostle.
When we was alive, we set up schools.
That's right.
When we were alive, we had supermarkets.
That's right. That's right.
We owned buildings.
That's right.
We owned farmland.
That's right.
We were busy doing something, hiring our people. Well, I'm telling the Muslims, damn it, if you don't come alive, you will die like you are. And I will say, thank you, Allah, because if they're not doing nothing on top of the earth, let the worms eat their ass.
Basic biology teaches us that let the worms eat their ass. Say it again. Let the worms eat their ass. This great loving Farrakhan, who's mad because you won't work hard enough. You made him millions. He ain't produced nothing. He just give you a banquet of shit all the time because he ain't telling you no truth. He watch the weather. Really? Thank you. I can go see and get that. Right? He ain't predict anything of any substance. Right? And he's the one that destroyed the nation. When they was alive, who killed him? You did. You and Wallace. I was there in 1775. See? So, hey, if this don't move you, brother, stay with him. Keep your head up his ass. We don't want you. Because you ain't about the truth no way. Keep talking, oh man, y'all gotta accept the truth. Then when you hear the truth, you can't accept it. So would that make you a goddamn hypocrite? You tell everybody they gotta accept the truth, and then when you hear a clear truth, because this is clear. This is his own words. Own words. And you don't respond, that means you're a hypocrite. And hypocrites get the worst punishment. We're gonna close out in a minute. Basic biology teaches us that the father carries a seed, the mother has the egg. But as a seed, you start as a sperm, you're alive. The egg is not alive, it's living material, but it's not alive. But the sperm is alive. As you start as a sperm, you're alive, and you went to the egg and you develop. But you start as a sperm, that means the sperm is a seed. So you are whatever your father is, period. That's basic biology. Now we know that Farrakhan's father is Percival Clark. And you can Google it, his father's a devil. So Farrakhan's a devil. He's skin folk. He's not kinfolk. He's like, they said Oreo, black on the outside, white on the inside. He's a devil. Which the scriptures refer to as a demon, half devil, half man. That's basic. So he could not possibly be a seed of Abraham. He could not possibly be a seed of Abraham. He's a devil. He's an enemy. That's why he don't want to call devils anymore, because he don't want his children, right, to know their grandfather's a devil. He don't want to have him call their grandfather's a devil. That's why Elijah Muhammad never told him that that's a lie. I was there. I was there during that time, 1970s. Elijah Muhammad never told him not to call devils, because he loses the term all the way up to his departure. So that's clear. So why are you deceived when that's clear biology? He doesn't deny it. He's kind of changed his office as far as a light-skinned Jamaican. Just look it up. You can Google it. Percival Clark's father, a devil. And he missed it in interviews and things. So there's no confusion there, brothers and sisters. And there's confusion, it's confusion your mind. Right? And scripture refers to him as Legion. Louis Eugene Grounds, that's his real name. Louis, he has some dispute about the grounds, but his real name is Louis Eugene Grounds. That's why Legion were demons that was confused, was betraying us, not betraying us, but deceiving us, right? Using us, right? He turned NOI backwards. Now, how would he become a millionaire? He doesn't have any business, anything, and his son, who's also a devil, because he's a devil, he's a multimillionaire, and he's an idiot. Think about that, right? You are what your father is. Now, the way they try to get around it is, oh, well, it doesn't matter who your mother or father is. Really? Then why you need sperm egg? It says, God made you in the womb. That's what counts. But what did he make you with? You see? And if you buy that, you buy it. Basic biology, brothers and sisters. Basic biology.